Exactly how to fix a lawnmower engine, Aurora, Colorado. I will certainly reveal you exactly how to fix a lawnmower engine, and exactly how to ultimately eliminate those gremlins which have been stumbling in its bowels. Certainly there is currently a way I can inform you every single problem that can take place to your engine, so I will inform you the huge parts of the engine, and also how to fix them. I am not a skilled mechanic. Similarly, what I have learned comes from years of analysis, and much experimentation. Hopefully from that I can show you exactly how to end up being more of an independent individual, as well as maybe conserve you a couple of dollars. Prior to you do anything with the lawnmower, you must after that detach the spark plug. This will certainly leave no chance of the engine beginning with you dealing with it. It is much better to lose a couple of seconds than loosen a couple of fingers. It is likewise be a good suggestion to wear some functioning handwear covers, because engines can be very sharp as well as dirty, which will certainly provide you an infection. Eye protection need to also be used to make sure that gas and also bits of steel cannot wind up in your eye. In addition, before you go and also dismantle the whole engine, it would be a great suggestion to very first look at the spark plug. This can offer you essential clues about what is going on in there. The one spark plug condition that was not stated on the chart is the crisis. The spark plug will certainly have thawed metal around the space, as well as is not typical but can be caused by a lack of excellent oil in your engine. Most importantly, change your oil. As long as I am discussing ignition system, I need to likewise discuss that if your spark plug gets striped, you will certainly need to get something called a helicoil, which will certainly patch the damage. The most common ignition system is the magneto ignition system, which is sort of like a step-up transformer. The most important thing about a magneto system is that there needs to be a small void between the magnets and the flywheel, and also the magneto. The flywheel itself is turned by a pull of the starter. There should be two teeth on the starter so it can turn the flywheel, as well as when the brake is disengaged the cable will rewind. The gap in between the flywheel as well as the magneto should be no wider than the thickness of a playing card. There are lots of various other ignition systems which would take longer than this instructable to explain, but generally you ought to examine all the wiring and search for any kind of wear or crud that might cause troubles. For instance, you can conveniently test the ignition system by touching completion of the spark plug to a based item of metal, as well as see if there is a trigger when you start the engine. Do not hold any kind of metal on the spark plug or you will certainly get an excruciating zap. Getting rid of a flywheel can be an annoying procedure if you do not know the methods. The nut which holds the flywheel is on very securely, as well as can just be removed by blocking the turning of the crankshaft with a wrench holding the nut on the blade or by blocking the turning of the blade. However, do not attempt to hold the flywheel by sticking a crowbar in the teeth, or they might break off. Once you have eliminated the nut which holds the flywheel in place, you will require to gently pry off the flywheel with a crowbar. Maintain turning the flywheel till it can be taken off conveniently. Now put the flywheel vital someplace secure. When you want to put the flywheel back on, make certain that the trick is in the appropriate instructions. It is generally marked in some way. The carburetor is the #1 culprit with engine problem. It's such a fundamental part of a 4-stroke engine that I will certainly have to use 2 web pages to completely clarify just how to clean it. The primary feature of repairing a carburetor is that they have to be spick and span. Below are 2 examples of extremely common carburetors which you can discover on a lawnmower. In other words, as I stated before, the carburetor must be spick and span in order to work. If a carburetor has had gasoline stand in it for more than a year, it will collect a gunky varnish which will certainly have to be get rid of. This crud can be removed conveniently eliminated by allowing the steel parts being in a jar of gas overnight. Do not allow the plastic components remain in fuel for too lengthy or it can ruin the plastic. Now for the specific components, beginning with the float. To examine the float, you will certainly first need to remove the pin, making sure you do not flex it. To examine to see to it the float is functioning effectively, immerse it in water to ensure there are no openings. The float valve itself must be able to relocate freely and also once again requires to be tidy. One of the most common problem with a carburetor is that its jets have come to be stopped up. They are usually constructed from brass and also are occasionally removable. To cleanse them out, just run a small piece of cable trough them. The primary carb body itself has lots of holes which can additionally get clogged periodically. Utilize a flashlight or a laser to ensure every opening is open, and clean them out with an item of cable. If the engine is having problems starting, there is a chance that the hole in the gas cap has become clogged up, if your engine has this attribute. Therefore, to examine this, just lightly screw on the cap, and also see if the engine starts. If you need to, simply run a tiny gauge cable via the hole to clean it out. For more info, visit the link below.